We're just gonna check in with everybody and wait for everyone to join us here. We're a little bit early, but we wanted to get started. How's everybody's Wednesday going? Nice.
You got 23 people, Carrie. You got
Awesome.
Myra,
Hey, Myra.
Homer Lex,
Hey, Homer Lex.
June, Michael,
Hey, June. Hey,
Tim,
Michael. Tim. Hi,
and
guys.
Henry.
Welcome. As you guys know, we're going to be doing some ring inlay today, so we're pretty excited about it. I haven't done ISO rings before. This has been my first venture into ISO rings, and it's kind of fun. They're a pretty cool one. So we'll give it a couple of seconds here and see if anybody else is popping in.
Yeah, we're going to give it just a minute because Myra seems to see you.
We're going to give it just a minute. Chad's taking a look at the technical side of it.
Okay.
I will warn you guys before we move the camera, but we will move it in real close so you guys can get a good view at what we're doing here. Nice.
Okay, now
Okay.
we're good.
Fantastic. All right. Should we get started?
Yeah, and Myra asked what an ISO ring is, so
That's a great question. An ISO ring is the ring that we have. It's got a bunch of little triangles on there. Chad, do you want to, camera guy, do you want to bring that in? You got to put your hand behind it so it'll focus. It's got a bunch of little triangles in there, so you can fill them all with different objects, or you can alternate your colors. You can kind of make a whole different style of ring with it. So that's what we're going to work on today. There's the ISO ring and then the mountain ring. Those are the two different ones that aren't just a straight channel. So those are a cool one to check out. Okay. Well, we've got some of our items here. I'll go over what I've got in front of me, what I'm going to use, and then we can kind of zoom the camera in and get started. So we've got our ring maker station here. We've got our ring mandrel with the ring already on it. The ring stations we make those here. We've got a little bottle of UV resin. I've got a couple of nail polishes here, our UV light, a couple of tools to move our product around in, and then today I'm gonna do this with the African rainbow in a small grain. So this is not one that I've used before, and it's really pretty. It's got a bunch of different colors in it and a bunch of different textures, so it's gonna look really cool with this little triangle element here. And then I've got our magnifying glasses as well. Those I'll be putting on. They're essential. What? Oh, yes. I don't know if you guys get our newsletter or if you've seen the front page, but we do have some new sales starting today. We've got the ring cores, the inlay materials, the comfort cores, as well as the ring blanks there. So we've got like the opal, the cultured opals, we've got the manufactured stone, we've got the real stone. We also have the abalone strips. So if you guys haven't tried any of the inlays with the abalone strips, they're adhesive backed, and you can kind of wrap the abalone around and then fill the top with your resin. And that looks really cool. You can even put different things on top of it. The watch parts are on sale as well. I'm sure I'm forgetting a couple odds and ends, but check out the website or look at the newsletter and you'll see everything that's on sale.
Rick Timmerman is on. He just got married.
Hey, Rick. How was the wedding? Congratulations. We're very excited for you guys. Sending much love up there. Rick just got married. We're very happy for him. But, okay.
All right.
Let's get started. All right, bear with us a second. Chad's going to move the camera in, so if you have motion sickness, just close your eyes for a minute here. Okay. All right. We are almost set. We in a good spot now?
Do you want it more zoomed?
Yeah, we probably want it a lot more zoomed.
There we go.
Okay. Okay, so you're zoomed in pretty close here, up close and personal. So this is the stone that we're going to be using. Can I see?
Yeah, that's real good. Okay,
so this is the African rainbow stone. This is in the small grain. It's a pretty cool stone. You can see a lot of different colors in there. Oh, I moved the wrong way. Love that. I wasn't sure what this would look best on, so I did a few samples. Do you want to leave that here and I can look at it? I did a few samples just on a piece of plastic here. This has just the nail polish color and then a little bit of the stone, so I can see what it would look like on the different backgrounds. So you can kind of see here the white versus the black. We usually do black nail polish. Oops, it's pretty sticky. We usually do black nail polish with our inlays, but I thought I'd try the white and see how that looks. So we're just gonna do the white nail polish. You do not have to use nail polish if you don't want to. We just like to use it. It helps with providing a little bit of a base on the back there. So we're gonna paint a little bit. And if you're not really good at nail paint, then same, also same. I'm using this trusty paper towel here to help me with cleaning it up just a little bit. Now, as opposed to the other channel rings where you can just go around and it's really quick and easy, this one, there's all these little spots here, so you're gonna have to go in a little bit more carefully. Sorry about that camera movement there. Chad's fixing it a little bit. So when you paint this one, you can see I'm not very precise with it, so I just wiped the top with a paper towel, and that way you don't have as much of that you're gonna have to take off later. Gives you a little bit of a leg up. Do we have any questions in the chat while I'm doing this part?
You do have Mom, Dad, and me watching from one Amelia Powell.
Hey sis, how's Costa Rica?
There you go.
And hi Mom, hi Dad, hi James, hi Charlotte. I love that my family is supporting me from that far.
There you go.
All right.
So Carrie, who are you and what do you do at Turner's
Oh my gosh,
Warehouse?
I did this last time too. I didn't introduce myself.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, I'm Carrie. I'm from Turner's Warehouse. How are you guys doing? I've worked with Chad here since the beginning, the conception of Turner's Warehouse, if you will. I do a little bit of everything. I do the website, I do the photography, I do packing orders, I do a lot of your emails, phone calls, any kind of that stuff. So right now I'm trying to like make sure it's not all tucked in the corners there. And I'm not doing a great job with this one. I just don't want it to be all filled in the corner and then not have any space for the stone, because that's not gonna look too great. What else do I do here?
The website.
The website is the main thing of what I do here. So if you have any questions or anything like that on why things look the way they look, it's my fault. Thank you. All right. So you might be asking why we're doing another indoor live stream here. And it's about 5 billion degrees in Arizona. I think it's
only 114.
Oh, it's only 114. So it's no biggie. It's 114 outside and it's really hot. So we're trying to avoid being out there as much as we can. We will go out there to polish this, but we just kind of want to avoid as much of the heat as we can. So this is what I like to call the most boring part, is painting the channel, because you're really just painting it with nail polish. That's all I'm going to do on this one. And in the magic of TV, we have one that's dry. So we're going to pop this one in here. Any other questions?
We need those like graphics that go bling.
Oh yeah, magic. Let's see.
Could use acrylic paint for this.
Yes, Chris, you can use acrylic paint for this. We just like nail polish because it's pretty cheap and you can find it in a lot of places in a lot of colors. When I made my husband's wedding band and I wanted it to model like a sapphire look to match mine, so I painted my channel with like a dark blue and put a blue stone over it so that it would give that look to it. All right.
June says Jim wants to know if clear nail polish would work. I'm not sure for what.
Clear nail polish for the backing would kind of defeat the purpose of painting the channel. If you wanted to use it for over top, we've never used it on top. I don't think that would be the best. It might not look as good as the UV resin.
Certainly wouldn't be as durable.
It wouldn't be as durable, that's for sure. Okay. Now you'll have to let me know if this light is.
Yeah, but I get you a little more. There we go.
I'm sorry if I'm sniffling. I'm still recovering from a little cold over here, so please don't mind that. I'll try and keep it to a minimum. So we've got some UV resin, we've got our stones. There's a lot of different colors in here, so I'm kind of spreading it out so I can pick specific colors to try and put as many colors in each little spot as I can. So I'm just gonna pick up a little bit of the UV resin and then go in for the stones. And these channels are quite small, so this is a great stone for it. The small stone or the powder would be a good stone for it. The large stone or maybe some of the abalone shell are a little bit more challenging. I know that Chad has done watch parts with these. You just have to clip your watch parts so that they fit into the little spots. And I think he probably did an 8mm width. This one is a 6mm width because I got to pick them and I prefer doing a smaller size. All right, so I'm gonna go through each one, fill it in with the stone and the resin, and I'm checking to make sure it's not going over the top. You don't want your stones to be poking out over the top of the ring because when you're polishing it, those will just come right off. And it might leave a void in your ring, kind of like a little dull spot. So we want to avoid that if we can. Now I tested this with black and with white, and I kind of liked the black better, but I wanted to go for the white because we do not usually paint things with white on the back. And seeing it, it really looks neat. It kind of looks like, I don't know, like a beach or sand, but a little bit more colorful. There are some clear pieces in this, and I'm taking any of the larger pieces out as I go. If there's a large piece that's not quite fitting in there, that way I can really make sure it goes below that channel there. Has anybody who's watching made one of these rings before, and what have you used with it? What kind of stone have you used, or opal or metal pieces? No, we have a lot of ring makers locally who right now this is kind of the best time to do rings because you do not want to be out in the shop if you can avoid it.
Myra's made them with opal.
Nice. What color opals? Myra used opals in hers. Opals are always a great choice. I almost went for opal with this one, but we have a lot that we have made with opals, and I've never used this particular color before, this stone, so I wanted to try and see how it looked. This is what it looks like thus far. I think it looks pretty cool. You've got a bunch of different colors. There's some red and some green, some browns of different shades, so it's kind of natural looking. It's a pretty neat look. Any other questions in there? Ring making is pretty fun to get into. We have a lot of couples who do ring making together, which I think is really sweet. A lot of times the husbands are like, I don't know what colors or what I should pick, and then the wives pick something. They make the ring core like this, and then the husbands will go polish it. I think it's really sweet when couples work together like that.
Myra says she wants to do a ring from dirt from Diamondback Stadium.
Myra says she wants to do a ring with the dirt from Diamondback Stadium. That could be pretty cool. You'll have to let us know if you do that, what it turns out like. I wonder if the dirt would give it a cool texture or if it would just look brown.
And then there's a comment, James here, doing great, auntie.
My sweet nephew, James, commented that he's doing great. My sister and her family are visiting my parents down in Costa Rica right now, and they're having a pretty good time. It's quite warm there, but I feel like it's a little bit more tolerable because it's a tropical weather. Doing the ring inlays, it takes a little bit of patience and it takes a little bit of time. But it's actually pretty meditative, much like turning on the lathe is meditative. And you can kind of, with the UV resin, I don't know if anybody here hasn't worked with UV resin, but you can move it around until you're ready to cure it. So if you're kind of just playing around with how it looks until you cure it with that UV light, you got plenty of time.
Bensom says black ceramic with mixed opals, dino bones, and meteorite. Some mica powders to fill the gap. So quite a lot.
Wow. Ben did a really cool combo with his ring. Dino bones, meteorite, some opals, everything. That sounds really cool. I bet that turned out really neat.
And June says, when Jim and I come visit, will you help us make a ring?
June is my Aunt June, and yeah, when you come visit, I will absolutely help you make a ring. I'll give you a personal class, as long as my boss is okay with it. He shook his head yes. June, you're on the books. Let me know when you're visiting. Probably won't be anytime in the near future because it's really hot here. So even with this being a little bit more time consuming with having to fill in all these little spots instead of just going around, I don't have a ton of patience usually, so this works out pretty well. You can go pretty quick. And the little triangles actually help hold it and dams them up in each little corner there, so you don't have to worry so much like you do with the rings about it getting gloopy if you don't cure it around. So we've got about half of this ring done so far. It's neat because each of the little pockets has different colors and different textures, and you can see different shapes, different sizes, so it's pretty neat. Got about half of this ring done. And I only use a little bit of UV resin at a time. It's best to just put a little bit out at a time because you don't want it to get hit by any of the UV light and cure. I've definitely done that before while I'm working on something. I'm not careful with the flashlight and I'll hit my little pile, and you don't want to be wasteful if it's too much UV resin and you just cure it all on your tray here.
Myra loves the triangles. Do you have any other styles like that?
Yeah, Myra, we have the mountain ring core, which has like a mountainscape on it, so you can do the sky or the mountain. You can kind of pick, whatever you want to be the top, but yeah, the mountain is a cool one. This one I really like because it is a little bit less of a specific picture.
Question, if you use the UV light, does it cure the adjacent triangles?
If you haven't cured your triangles and you put the UV light on it, it will cure the UV resin on there, yes. Is that the question?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay. So the question was, if you put your UV light on the adjacent triangles, will it cure it? Yeah, so these ones are already cured. They're not as like firm as after we're done. We'll put this in the sun and let it bake for a while. But it will cure it enough where it's not runny and you can move on to the next. So I'm just making sure I'm not getting too high on these so that I don't have any chip out when I'm turning. So it's never fun when you're done polishing and you look at it and you see a little divot where you knocked a stone out. What are some other projects you guys do during the summer when it's too hot to go out in the shop? Or on the flip side, if you live somewhere where summer is your turning time, what do you do in the winter when you can't go out in your shop?
Your niece is on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think my whole family is on, Amy,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool. I sent a photo of me in these really cool magnifying glasses to my family because I think it's hilarious the way your eyes look giant in them. And I guess they all decided they wanted to watch the live stream, which is awesome.
You might ask Tim to clarify his question. He says, are you not curing it, or is it a direct hit? I'm not sure what he means.
Tim, can you clarify your question for me about it not curing them or it not being a direct hit? Just so I can make sure I answer appropriately.
People are saying they watch YouTube. That's what they do in the summer.
People watch YouTube in the summer, that's what they're saying? Well, that's good to do. That gives you ideas of different things that you can do when it's nice out. All right, we only have a little bit left on here. Put out a little bit more of this stone just to get some fresh pieces. Now, I know a lot of people have different methods for how they put their inlay materials in. You can use tweezers, you can use little paint brushes, you can use a toothpick. There's a lot of options. I just use this metal pick because it's here. So use what you have to help you with what you're working on.
I'm going to come towards you just a little bit. Hopefully that's better.
Was it not close in enough?
It was just a little far back.
Okay. Let's see. This is a bigger piece here. And these little triangles really are quite small once you get that resin and the stone in there. So you can only put a few pieces in each one.
You have a question?
I have a question.
Do you put a top coat of resin on these rings after you've set the stone or before you turn?
This is a fantastic question. They're asking if you put a top coat of resin on after this part before you turn it. And yeah, absolutely. So this one, I'm just trying to make sure I get them all underneath the edge of the ring and filled. And then when I'm done, I usually go with the actual UV resin bottle and just do little droplets, smear it around so you have a little dome over top so that when you polish it on the lathe, you're polishing the resin itself. And that way you can make sure that you don't get the stones in there. Because you don't want to polish your stones out. That was a good question. If you haven't done rings before, definitely give them a try because they're relatively user-friendly. And even if you mess up, you can always just take it out of the channel and start all over again.
It seems like sometimes people are their own worst critic.
Amy.
They won't be liking it, but then the rings always come out really well.
Yeah, Amy was just saying a lot of times people tend to be their own worst critic, where they don't really like the ring or how it's turning out, but then when they're done, it looks really cool and people really like it. So a lot of times we are harder on ourselves than other people are in a lot of aspects of life. This one is actually coming together pretty quickly.
You got folks who are getting up super early to beat the heat in their shop garages.
Ah, yes, some people are getting up really early in the morning so that they can beat the heat. That's definitely a good idea. We have our shop helper here. He comes in at like 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. and then by like 8 o'clock, it's already too hot for him to do anything out there. So middle of the night, early morning is really the best bet. Okay. So we've got that all filled in. All of our little triangles here have some cool stone in there. I really like the way this looks, and I like the way it looks on the white. Like, the black looks pretty cool on this little page here, but I really like the look of the white. It just gives it more of a natural vibe. So now we're gonna go through with this UV resin over top. And we're just gonna create like a little mound on the top so that the UV is what we're polishing and not the stone. And just like with the other part, you'll want to cure as you go so that you don't have your UV resin just rolling all over the place. I've definitely done that before and have had like big globs of it, so you don't want to waste your resin.
Mike Braden is in the chat, and he said, I learned a fine paintbrush is way better than a toothpick for putting resin in opal.
Oh, okay, Mike Braden said he likes a fine toothpick instead of, or fine paintbrush instead of a toothbrush. Okay.
Instead of a toothpick.
Toothpick, I'm saying all the right words. A fine paintbrush is a great option for these. I was using this paintbrush when I was trying to kind of get the nail polish out of the corners a little bit. It worked pretty well. I feel like the paintbrushes, for me, the bristles get in the way of what I'm trying to do. So I like the security that just the tip will give you. Just has a little bit more strength to it. But, you know, if it works for you, that's really what matters. So we're just doing that top coat, trying to make sure it's all nice and covered, and curing as I go. And once we were done with this process, we would put this out in the sun for a little bit. You can put it in one of those UV beds to like really set it, like they have at nail salons. Or you can use the sun if you're lucky and live in a place like Arizona where the sun is very prominent. I think we're almost good here. All right, so this is all UV'd up and filled in real nice. And then magic, we've got this one that I made earlier. It has the same top coat of resin all over it. We put it out in the sun for a little while so it could get nice and cured. Sorry about that, guys. And now we are gonna go pop it on the lathe and polish this up. Are there any questions while we're getting that set up? It's gonna take us a minute to move the camera out there, so just bear with us for a moment.
We do have a question.
Yeah.
Are all the
put you on
stones
camera.
below the ring surface level?
Yeah. All of the stones are below the ring surface level because you want it to be nice and flush with that when you're polishing it. So you don't want the stones to pop up over it. That's how you'll get the tear out with the stones or voids if you knock the stones out. So you want to keep those stones underneath that level of the channel and then put your resin over top of it. Good question. All right, we ready to pop outside?
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna follow you so you can open the door for me.
Okay. Put these on. So we're going out in the shop. We do have the swamp coolers running. We just cannot operate without it there. You good? All right.
You wanna go over the setup first before I come in?
What?
You wanna go over the setup before
Oh,
I
yeah.
come in?
So we have our Record Power Regent here. We've got a collet chuck system here. Just your standard collet chuck system. I think this one is the 1/2" ER32 collet. That is the size of this shaft. So you're gonna pop this bad boy right in there and then we'll get turning. Will you do that for me, Chad? Just to make sure it's safe. I'm gonna put on some safety gear real quick. Don't know if this is gonna block any of the noise.
Carrie, which one do you think is better, the unimandrel or the professional grade mandrel?
So the question is, what do I think is better, the unimandrel or the professional grade mandrel? Both are made with really high quality steel. The unimandrel just gives you the option to do all of the sizes, whereas the professional mandrel is just for some specific sizes. So you have the 4 to 9, I think, and then the 9 to 14. And then there is an extended size in the professional, which goes up to size 17. That was a great question. Now this face shield might be a little bit overkill because this is a very small project, but I just want to make sure that we're not going to have any issues. All right. To polish this, we're going to be using some we're going to be using some fine sandpaper. We're going to be using some 600 and then 800. We're going to wet sand it, and then we're going to wet polish it. We're going to polish it with the Zona paper. This is great stuff for these. We just cut them into small strips. Usually for rings, you'll get 1, maybe 2 rings out of the Zona paper just because of the metal dust that it will leave. But this is great stuff for polishing it up. Okay. Are we ready? Okay.
Let me get you set up before you start. That was an extreme close-up.
Okay.
Is that going to be too close for you to work?
That should be okay. All right.
What speed do you sand at?
What speed do we sand at? We are gonna sand, sorry, I'm just getting this set up here.
Seven to 900.
Usually we're gonna sand around 700 to 900.
Got a little wobble on this ring.
Got a little wobble on it, so we're gonna have our tech guy fix that for
It's
us.
probably the main.
It is probably the mandrel.
It'll be okay to sand with. I'll see if I can get you another mandrel.
Okay. We're gonna get started on the sanding here. So we're gonna start with some 600. You just wanna get it in the water a little bit there, and then you're gonna go in.
We have another question.
Yes.
Do you need the whole exact setup to start? Like if you were gonna start bare bones, what would you need?
So the question is, what would you need to get started doing rings? And that's a fantastic question. There are the ring mandrels and the collet check system. There's a lot of stuff that is available. But if you want to get started and you're not sure if it's something you're going to like, it might be good to take a class in it, or you can make bushings or jigs for just the ring by itself if you want to just do 1 or 2 and see how you like it.
Let's go ahead and see if we can switch this.
We're going to go ahead and switch this mandrel out, so give me a second. What I would recommend is using a collet chuck because it holds it really securely, and then you don't have risk of the ring coming off and hitting you or getting damaged. The ring mandrels are fantastic because they do hold it nice and securely on there. You could make a kind of jig for this if you are so inclined, but the steel on these is great quality and it really helps hold it securely for you.
A little better.
Okay, this guy is a little bit less wobbly, so we're gonna keep going on this one.
We have a good point from Ralph.
Yes, Ralph has a good point.
Be sure your ring sizer matches the width of the ring you're planning to make.
Make sure
in
your
1996, I used a thin sizer and then made my wedding band. Didn't fit it, and I had to remake the wedding band.
Oh no.
Because of like width.
He had to remake his wedding band because he used a thin sizer instead of a thick sizer for his wedding band, and it didn't fit properly. That's a great point. The 6mm width that I have here, I prefer because the 8mm on my finger feels like it suctions on there. So the thicker widths, sometimes you have to go up a little bit in the size. So just make sure you're trying on the ring on the person before you get started. Myra, I agree, Amy is a rock star.
Did you talk about the like wallet sizers we have?
We do have some wallet sizers that are kind of like a a zip tie that doesn't zip tie, but it's that kind of idea that will go around your fingers. So if you're out and about or you have people that you want to size and you don't want to carry a big ring with a bunch of sizes on there, you can kind of pop that in your wallet and check it out that way. Okay. I think we're gonna move on to the next sandpaper grit. So we're moving on to an 800 grit here. This is just the fine sandpaper. Use what you have, but you definitely want to use a higher grit when you're starting off here. You don't want to start with a 120 or 220. That's just going to put a bunch of scratches in your ring.
Carrie, you only have 2 likes on this video. You need to tell them to give you a bunch of likes.
Chad's saying that I only have 2 likes on this video, and he's jealous because his live streams never get any likes. So if you guys could give me some more likes, I'd really appreciate that. Looks like we have a question about using micro mesh. It's the same as the Zona, and the Zona paper has 6 steps where the micro mesh has generally 9 steps. So you can absolutely use the micro mesh if that's what you have in your workshop. Go for it. We really like the Zona paper, but Chad used the micro mesh for years on his pens and everything. So use what you have available to you, but micro mesh is just fine. I feel like sanding and polishing is probably the least fun part of the video. But we really wanted to give you guys the result at the end so that you could see the way it looks without having to wait until we were finished polishing it.
Tim in the chat says that he loves finishing the most.
Tim loves finishing the most. All right. Hop on down, Tim. You can finish this for me.
It's the most important part. So.
I'm going to just check this and see.
So just to follow up on Ralph making the wrong size of his first wedding band, I asked him what happened to the first band, and he said it's a band with a wizard, a dragon, and a castle on it, and it's in a box as a reminder to use the right sizer.
Ralph, I love that. It's in a box with a wizard, a dragon, and a castle on it to remind you to use the right sizer. That's a good lesson. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so we've got our Zona paper here. As you can see, we just cut it into little small squares. I can't stress enough to keep these in the stack of their order, especially the white with the side up that you want, because if you flip this around, it looks almost the same. So just learn from my mistakes and try and keep them all together. We're gonna wet sand these as well. So you're just gonna wanna dip them in the water and get going. Has anybody else made their wedding bands or made wedding bands for anybody? I know Ricky and his now wife made some bands for each other. They were here, gosh, that was a while ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like in September and in the fall sometime?
When the weather was cool.
When the weather was nice and we had people in the shop. Myra's saying the perfect sticker would be the order color for the Zona paper. Yes. Now, while finishing and polishing is probably the least glamorous part, it is the most important part, which is why I like to spend a little bit more time on it. Some people rush the process. That's cool. I like to spend a little bit more time on it and make sure we get a nice polish. I made my husband's wedding band when we got married 4 long years ago, and I think I need to make him a new one. He is not watching this because he's got a very important job where he can't just watch YouTube videos. I think I need to make him a new one for our 5-year anniversary because we're planning on having like a big party. We got married during the pandemic, so we didn't really get to have a big wedding. So we're gonna have a party and kind of celebrate. What do you guys think I should make his band out of? Let's take a poll and see.
Carrie, they're asking about the ring stations. Amy's commenting. We just finished them today, so we'll add them as soon as well.
Oh yeah, Chad's letting me know you guys are asking about the ring stations. We just finished cutting them today. We kind of had to get in super early to get that done, and they're getting finished up, so they'll be added in the next day or so. If you put your email in on the back in stock notification, you'll get a message as soon as we get those back in stock, and then you can get yours. They are very handy. They make it a lot easier to have that stand there. Myra has an issue with dropping her Zona papers on the floor. Yeah, you can't see, but I have a death grip on this hand because I don't want to let go of these with the swamp cooler on, and with this being a live stream, I don't need to shuffle around. Wood is the traditional 5-year wedding gift. Ooh, I could make him a wood one. That would be really cool. I could probably cut a channel in it too and put some stone in there too. Myra, that's a fantastic idea.
Ken says ceramic core with fordite outer.
Kev says ceramic with fordite. Ooh, that is a good pairing as well. That would look super cool. I think Chad's made at least one with blue ceramic core on the inside, and that really popped all the colors. That's a pretty cool one. PC, do we make it as a starter kit? We do have a ring maker's station that comes with the station, the 2 different crafters mandrels, the UV resin, the UV light, a little UV bottle, some tweezers, some paintbrushes. Am I forgetting anything? And then for the ring cores themselves, we don't have currently a starter kit. We'll be having one coming up soon in the next couple of months here with some of the most popular sizes. Thank you, June, for coming. I appreciate it. All right, we are on the second to last polishing here. I'm probably taking a little bit longer than I need to, but again, I really like to have a nice polish on these, and the pressure's on because we're going to be showing you guys this ring real up close and personal. I want to make sure it's not terrible.
Are all your inlay stones about the same size on your website? Mine were too large.
So Michael is asking if all the inlay stones are the same size on the website. So we have 2 different inlay stones that are stones. One is the lab created stones, and those come in a large stone, a small stone, and a powder. So those are not very big to begin with, but the small stone is generally what we use on the ring inlays. And then the regular stone, that's the natural stone, those are all a pretty small grain as well. And if not the natural stone, you can crush them up a little bit more. The opals, we do have 2 different sizes in the opals. Some of them have a chunky opal, which is a slightly larger size. I was just editing this page and I feel like it was 2 to 3 millimeter.
1.5 to 2.5 or something like that?
That's for the 1.5 to 2.5 is the size of the regular opal, and then 2 to 3 is the size of the chunky opal. Don't quote me on that because I don't 100% remember, but the opals are a great size. The regular size opal is a great size. The chunky opal is a good size for rings as well, but you could also crush them up if some of the pieces are a little large. Good questions, guys. Tim is celebrating 41 years of marriage. Wow, Tim, that's pretty impressive. I think she would love another ring. I can't think of a better gift. That's really sweet. Something homemade and personal. All right, we're gonna check this out and see how it looks. Get polished up pretty nice so far. I might hit it with a tiny bit of the ring bling. All right, we're just gonna do a teeny bit of ring bling.
Ooh, PCC is at 44 years this year.
PCC is at 44 years. That's pretty impressive.
Oh, Bobby beat them, 48.
Chad and Amy just celebrated. How many years you guys been married now? 24 years. All right. We're gonna use some of this Plastex because I couldn't get the ring bling open and I didn't want to wait, so.
Oh, Richard Elston has got us all. He's been married for 50 years.
Richard Elston has been married for 50 years. Congratulations, Richard. I think I remember you saying that not too long ago when you were in the shop. That's awesome. I can't even imagine. That's a long time to be with somebody. My parents just celebrated 46 years, and that's a long time to be with one person, and congrats to everybody who has. I might have gotten a little bit too much polish. The years do go pretty fast. All right.
Tim says, I'm too old to be trained again.
Tim said he's too old to be trained again. Smart, very smart.
TVC Bushing's 29 years. Mike Lexa, 25.
All right, we're gonna pop this off here. A bit more. Okay, am I too close?
You could be okay.
So this is our finished ring here with the African rainbows. Jeez Louise. With the African rainbow stone in a small grain. Can probably bring it in closer.
Looks good.
So I think this turned out really nice. You guys let me know if you like this stone or if you don't like it. We'd love to see what you guys come up with the different stones. Sorry, Amy's showing me where the center needs to be.
Looks real good.
It looks pretty good. We can take it back inside and look at the light, but I don't want to put you guys through the motion sickness. So I like the way this looks. Any last questions? I'm gonna pop this ring on right here.
What's the difference between ring bling and other polishes?
So the ring bling and other polishes, they're all plastic polishes. Again, use what you have. If you have one on hand that you use for your pens, I would use that. We do like the ring bling because it gives a real nice pop to it, but I used the Plastex on it because it was handy. So use whatever you like. That's a good question though. We're pretty big advocates on if you have it nearby and it's something that you like to use that. But we also do sell the ring bling and we like that one. Sorry about that shake there. Got other questions?
Not really for the moment. Just a lot of longevity in marriages. People saying that was great.
Awesome. I happen to make this in the size that fits me. Oops, not on purpose. But thank you guys for joining. If you want to see our videos, we do a weekly live stream. So make sure you hit that notification and subscribe. If you want to give me a thumbs up if you liked this, that'd be awesome. We really appreciate everybody coming.
Can you just repeat one more time that we are going to put the Ultimates back in stock here this afternoon?
Yes. Again, we have the Ultimate Rainmaker Station set that comes with the station, the resin, the light, the mandrels. That's going to be back in stock this afternoon. So put your email in there if you're on the page right now. That way you'll be notified as soon as they go back in, but otherwise we'll be getting those up shortly here. Thanks, guys. All right, we'll see you next week. Have a great day. Not doing faces. Bye, guys.